Takes Radio Company presents another episode and adventure in exploring the life of how to be a world-class Jesus entrepreneur and what that could mean. Today, a little conversation. What might the missing stories about Jesus tell us about Jesus as an entrepreneur? Let's see if we can just have a little chat about that and see where it leads us.
Well, we're back in the new Jesus Entrepreneur Studio. That's right, here at What It Takes Radio, the virtual radio station that goes around the world. We have a number of studios, all kinds of different ones. Yes, many. They're all virtual, but they're all different. And of course, we're a virtual place. And this is the one that we have chosen to be the Jesus Entrepreneur Studio. So we have the big poster up in the studio, and it matches all of the colors that we want to use in our very classy studio. We want to be world class. Hey, also, I'm just a brief experiment. My wife and my grandson said that, Grandpa, you have such old-fashioned glasses. And my wife agreed, said, you ought to get something a little more cool or funky. And so this is a little bit about what I'm trying. I don't know, the glare might be a little bit more than I want right now, but I decided maybe I'll give it a try. It reminded me of a story where a young boy in Sunday school was all of a sudden, he was told that he was going to have glasses. And he didn't want to have glasses. He had all kinds of problems about that. But he had to get some glasses, and he came to Sunday school wearing glasses, and people commented, and some people made some comments about him. And his question was, well, Jesus didn't wear glasses. Jesus didn't wear glasses. Why should I have to wear glasses? Jesus didn't wear glasses. Well, I've never seen a picture with him wearing glasses. Well, maybe it would be good to do a picture with him wearing glasses to help some of the young people who have to go through that experience when they don't want to. What did Jesus look like? Well, of course, there's all kinds of limitations and imitations that we have on that. And we have one there too, where we're trying in many ways to dress him up in modern terms. And so we have a picture of Jesus possibly somewhat in the same frame of face, but we've got him in a nice red tie and a computer and a dress suit, white shirt. And I remember one time there was an actual conversation about, well, if Jesus were here today, what kind of computer would he have? Would he have a Mac, or would he have a PC or an IBM, or what would that? And of course, that's always a fun thing to do when we're trying to live the life of wondering what would Jesus be like? We would like to know more about him, and not just his teachings, but about him. I've always said that one of the things I've always had a problem with is because one of the things that I was very good at in terms of helping people in business coaching was to ask the question, what's missing? And I still ask that, I point out, I say, we both have two lives. It's the life we're living now and the unlived life that is within us. And we're trying sometimes to get in touch with that unlived life that is within us and become truly who we are, who God made us to be, who Jesus intends us to be. However, the time between the age of 12, when we have the episode in the synagogue, temple, somewhere in Jerusalem, where they go off and Jesus, all of a sudden, Mary and Joseph discover he's gone. And that, well, you lost your child? I mean, think about that. all of us have had some of those moments where all of a sudden we're in a situation where our small children or our children, they've gotten separated from us in a mall or a store or a crowd, and we go into some very instant panics about that. But he just didn't go with them. He stayed there. Uh, Kind of a snotty thing to do if you think about it. Well, of course, his mother and father just are, they lose it, obviously. They're scared to death, and they run back and they find him. And he said, well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. What does that mean to his parents? They know something's unusual is happening, but what does all that mean? Well, that's the last thing we hear for 18 years. I wonder what happened during those 18 years. Well, I know partly what happened. He became an entrepreneur. He was in prob, the construction industry, the business world of making things, fixing things, repairing things. Some people say, well, he was a carpenter. Well, some people say the word has more to mean with maybe a stonemason. Others say, as one of my good friends said it, she said in my language, it's the kind of the equivalent of a handyman, which I like that. In fact, I shared that story with the young gentleman who is a kind of a handyman for us in Arizona, and he started to cry. He said, "You mean you were just a?" He said, I'm just an immigrant. I'm half Apache. I'm half Mexican, and I'm working really hard to make a living. He said, and Jesus was a handyman like me? Well, it could be. What went on that made him all that he was? Now, I point out, he oftentimes was he had to be a tough guy. Hard work does that to you. They didn't mess with him. I love the story, which I pointed out in the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. We actually get an excerpt from the film of Ben-Hur many years ago, where, in effect, a Roman soldier approaches Jesus and tells him to stop giving water to a poor man on his way to the galleys of prisons, who is the Ben-Hur. And what happens when he runs up to stop Jesus? He backs off and walks away. Don't mess with him. It would be nice to know what we're missing about the story, if that might be helpful to us in any way. I don't know. Obviously, the Spirit and their providence has oftentimes said, well, that's not necessary for you to know that. Well, it's something that sparks our imagination, because we want to identify with some of the things that have happened in our life. And so at the age of 30, and I paint a very vivid picture in my own description of it, where I say it seems that at one time Jesus must have come home from a busy day at the shop or out with a client or a customer. And one day he puts his tools away and locks them up and sheds his working clothes and picks up a small bag and he leaves. He goes out, leaves his employment, leaves his company, leaves his business. In some respects, leaves his family. They're ticked off. What is he up to? Can you imagine? Because you just know that he probably was the best salesman. He was probably the best worker. He was the one that made the business happen. The oldest son, and he was the one. People knew that he was a good, strong man. Simple, kind, but also he's really smart for an uneducated man. seem to have all that fancy education either. Well, all I'm simply saying today is that be prepared to say, I would like to see Jesus in new and powerful ways. You know, we don't really need a lot of new teaching or new theologies, but we may need to have a new and powerful experience with the man. An experience that changes our lives. Not just saves us, or directs us, or guides us, or helps us. Really changes who we are. Maybe to be like him as an entrepreneur. That's it for today. I just want to pose some of those rambling questions that I have, and perhaps you can have conversations about them. You know, there's all kinds of fun ways. And by the way, what we oftentimes give to Jesus are the things that we would like to have or experience ourselves. My mother, we said, did Jesus have a dog? Oh, we don't know. Well, and the conversation went, well, what kind of dog do you think he would have had? Well, of course, then we all talk about the dogs we love. He would probably like the kind of dogs we like. All of those are giving us not the ability to waste time, but it's to think about who we might want to be, that unlived life. And I think that's what I really want to emphasize, that what God wants is that most of us are living the unlived life that's within us. And what he's about is he's about manufacturing, making, redoing, rewiring, renewing, bringing the spirit within us to bring out the life that we were meant to live. That's an entrepreneurial venture. That's a transformation. That might be the real deal. Thank you for your time. We are here to speak, to teach, to help, and to help you become a world-class Jesus entrepreneur in your life, your business, your marketplace, so that you can truly make a difference. Maybe change your world. Maybe even change the world. Best and blessings. Peace be with you. Till next time, I'm Stan for the man. Bye for now.